What's good, guys? We're here. It's another Thursday, but a little bit earlier than usual. I wonder why, because of how insane this whole week's been. Welcome to Crazy Pinfalls. What's good, guys? How you doing?
I'm exhausted, and I don't even work in media, and I'm exhausted after everything that's happened.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you technically do running that Discord with Warren on certain days.
Yeah, that's true. And let me say, I had a not so popular opinion in there today about one of the subjects we're gonna talk about, and I was like, that's fine.
Well, a lot of things we need to start with. I want to hold off on the results a little bit just because I want certain people to pop in if they can. If not, then we'll release it towards the tail end. But we'll start with Money in the Bank and we'll work our way through all of this insanity that's been for the last couple of weeks. So Money in the Bank was really good. I didn't expect Nikki Cross to actually win the Money in the Bank in the picks that I did in the Tim and Joel Discord that they did. I didn't expect that at all. I thought Alexa would win it and stuff, and a lot of the picks I had, I was pretty much dead on for the most part. But how did you guys fare in your own picks?
The beginning, for me, not very well. I think I didn't have the Usos winning. I did not have Nikki Cross winning. I did not have Big E winning. I mean, I had somebody else winning that. But pretty much the other matches I had, I did not have Charlotte winning. So I was pretty much 2 for 6. So I was pretty bad.
I think for me is just the Alexa and the Charlotte one. I picked Rhea to win and I had Alexa to win. But I mean, I'm happy the way it all panned out. I mean, look what happened on Monday Night Raw. I mean, Monday night was the first time I think in a long time I was just interested in about the first 10 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah.
I would say for Raw, the first half hour was enjoyable. And then once it got to Riker and Elias, it just went... And I'm like, okay, now I'm...
Raw felt the same as it was in the Thunderdome, except for the fans.
Yeah. Which was interesting, because you had fans reacting to some stuff that you didn't expect to, but like Riker, like you could tell they were still piping in noise.
Yeah.
Because you heard boos for Riker and then just this, like, as Sean described it, this white noise of what very clearly sounded like, like cheers from the crowd of a wrestling video.
He did it for Goldberg. Goldberg coming back. I was looking after that. He came out for Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
We were about to go to commercial to end that segment. I was looking at the crowd because his music hit again. I'm like, there's nobody chanting Goldberg, Goldberg. I saw nobody chanting in the crowd his name.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for Goldberg for like years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody cared about Goldberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Goldberg and WWE.
My predictions for Money in the Bank, I did have E winning. So I was excited about that. I also had predicted Alexa was going to win the women's. So I was like, oh, okay.
We're all wrong.
Yeah. I got the 2 world title matches right. I don't remember what I had thought for Rhea and Charlotte. I think I picked Rhea to defend and successfully defend. I think I
don't get that match. Could they just do the cash in on that day?
If the Money in the Bank match has already happened, yes, because that's what happened 2 years ago. Because the women's Money in the Bank kicked it off and Bayley won it, and then later Becky came out, defended Raw title, dropped Smack title to Charlotte, and then Bayley immediately cashed in on it.
Do you know the way they ended on Raw? The way they ended the match on Money in the Bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just have the same way that Money in the Bank, same way that they drew it up from Raw, where Sharp takes out Rhea's knee and stuff, but a little bit differently, maybe in a DQ way, but not a DQ. She cheats to win. She cheats to win, right? On Money in the Bank. She takes out her leg. She cheats to win. Finds a way to cheat to win. Rhea Ripley gets mad, takes her out like she did on Raw, and then just have Nikki ASH cash in on Money in the Bank.
By the way,
at the pay-per-view or on Raw?
Pay-per-view.
I want to just say this, right? Anybody on Twitch that's putting out stupid comments in Twitch, please don't. It's a waste of time. Like someone just put on.
This?
Yeah, I know that. Just it's a waste of time.
What's going on Twitch?
Yeah, no, just don't. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Chummy Chung 15. That is clickbait if I ever heard it.
Yep.
Who thinks like that?
Who cares? Let's move on. That's not worth talking about.
Yeah.
As far as the Nikki Cross, I refuse to call her Nikki Ash or Nikki ASH. I just refuse.
It's bad.
Yeah. What do you guys feel about her cashing in? Well, first of all, about her winning and then her cashing in the following night on Raw. What do you guys think?
Should just done Money in the Bank.
But you're fine with her winning.
I mean, not doing it at Money in the Bank breaks the trend of the immediate cash-in.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But doing it the next night is not really that much different. I was right about most of the champions. I did have Roman, and I did have Bobby, and I did have AJ and Omos winning. I picked Rhea, so that was wrong. That was actually really my only one. And Alexa, I picked Alexa, and obviously, Alexa got buried in the ladders. So that didn't happen. But overall, I had to actually look it up again because of all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. I didn't even remember everything that happened on the show. It's just there's so many things that happened.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the two biggest things of the night: Big E winning and Cena returning at the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, because for me, look, Nikki Cross, she's good. She's talented. She was underutilized for a long period of time, and then she formed a tag team with Alexa and was actually being used fairly well. And then Alexa got involved with The Fiend, and then that tag team just kind of broke away. And since then,
stole the gimmick.
She hadn't, and since then she hadn't done anything. She hadn't done anything of note. So her winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then her cashing in. Like I was like, you know what? I am happy for her. Like I'm fine with that. She deserves it. She's really good. She worked really hard. A lot of people are not liking this gimmick.
Everybody thought Becky Lynch.
With Nikki though, it's justified because of, like you said, how hard working she was. Look how underutilized she was during the whole the Thunderdome era. She was literally just sitting around doing absolutely nothing when they were at the Ray Stadium in the back, literally pounding the crap out of the mat, saying, "Use me,"
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and now they are, and it's great for her.
And I listened to Sour Graps Monday night, which was immediately, almost 2 hour post show with Johnny, and then almost 2 hours of Alex, 5 minutes after that, and he explained like why he doesn't like the Nikki Ash gimmick, and and why he's got a problem with it, and it was interesting because he said people compare it to the Hurricane, obviously, but Hurricane, it was a parody, it was satire, he thought he was a superhero when he clearly wasn't, and it was done for humor. But this is a case where Nikki, she says, I know I'm not a real superhero, but it's meant to be a serious thing. And that's why it doesn't work for him. And I was like, okay, I understand that. It's still not how I feel, but I understand that. And, and it's just, and it's like, look, there were two things that were far worse that happened on Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm sorry, don't waste energy being mad about Nikki Cross successfully cashing in and becoming Raw Women's Champion when the NXT champion and a former NXT champion were handled so dirtily.
Did you hear about those tapings? When we got to Karrion Cross, did you hear about the tapings?
Yeah.
Suit?
Yeah, mention that, actually.
We were talking about that actually right before you joined and right before you went live. So this is what.
Well, let's start with Monday, and then we'll go into.
So we have to be careful. We might accidentally spoil some stuff from NXT because they've been taping.
Well, this thing is pretty well known. We're not going to go into details of what happened while the chant was going on, but certainly we can talk about the chant. So yeah, so Karrion Kross, NXT champion, comes out to face Jeff Hardy, who's got No More Words back, which is cool.
Great song.
And then Jeff Hardy
Welcome,
proceeds.
Tim.
What's up, Tim?
Hey,
And
Tim.
then Jeff Hardy proceeds to beat the NXT champion in a minute 40. And I will say, first
super
of all,
chats like crazy.
oh yeah, and I will say first of all, Matt Hardy made a great tweet. I think the next day where he was like, "Wait a minute, isn't my brother NXT champion now?" I was like, "Okay, that's a good tweet." but nobody liked that dumb decision. NXT locker room didn't. I'm sure Cross didn't. The fans didn't. Like so many people.
And it gives a real insight, as we've seen from other people who've reported, like John Alba, who tweeted out, where you kind of see into the mind of Vince of what he thinks of NXT.
And especially if you look at how because I looked this up, how the last 3 people who showed up on main roster as NXT champion with that championship, how they were treated.
KO.
Last one, Ciampa. What did he do? He teamed with Gargano to form DIY. And he beat FTR and the Bar.
And the thing with Gargano, they were feuding. They weren't friends either. They were like heel and face.
They were sort of. They had this like uneasy truth thing going on.
But KO, right?
KO
was the first one,
right? Yeah. But he beats FTR and the Bar, who were both multiple-time champions, especially the Bar. Hey. What does Adam Cole do? Shows up, defends the title on SmackDown against Daniel Bryan, on Raw against Rollins, and then at Survivor Series against Pete Dunne. What does Kevin Owens do? Stuns John Cena in the middle of the ring and goes on to beat him on pay-per-view with that title.
No, let's rephrase that. He pumped up powerbomb Cena. It basically won the U.S. title not that long afterwards.
Yeah.
So, for me though, and let's say this much: Vince doing whatever Vince does, it's like a kid in a sandbox that doesn't know what they want. At the end of the day, they just get a pound of sand up their ass and just not understanding what toy to use. The thing is that, and I'll die on this hill, is that Cross can be used in a certain way, and I get what Cole said on NXT previously. That it's just like he's a one-trick pony. He's got the girl, he's got the entrance, he's got this and stuff like that. And now Vince just basically said, you know what, Hunter, I'm taking your huge star that you're building and I'm going to dump him and destroy him. And the thing is that these people work their tails off to get to this point. And Vince is at the point where it's just like, screw it. If you're not The Rock, I don't care. If you're not Brock, I don't care. Yeah. If you don't have a sock, I don't care. You can see where this rhyme's going for a little bit with all these legends' names.
Yes.
It's just it's ridiculous and unfair. Next thing you know, they bring Bronson Reed up and they give him, wrongfully so, the Keith Lee treatment where Lee basically is not doing much and he gets squashed by Lashley in 10 minutes. The guy's a freaking amazing athlete.
Yeah.
And you're basically destroying
champion. He's a future champion.
Brock Lesnar was impressed by him when Keith Lee came out at the Rumble and Brock's in the ring all alone and Brock goes, "Oh, big boy." Like Brock Lesnar was impressed.
Anakin, he was in a Survivor Series match with Roman Reigns the last two.
And looked really good in that.
And Roman Reigns was also impressed with him too.
Yeah. Keith Lee is a future champion. He's a future champion. I can see him having a title.
I'm going to predict this, and this is what's going to end up happening. Roman's going to go past his opponent, which is Cena, obviously. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to figure out the difference between Night of Champions and the other thing.
Yeah.
I'm guaranteeing they're going to, when the draft happens, they're going to get leaped. By the way, Anakin, we're going to give out one of the results because somebody who's a friend of our show, who's family of the show, by the way.
Hello.
There he is.
So I'm going to put this in this, all right?
Okay.
So take you. Sorry, Drew, going to take you.
Look, if I didn't win, I'm going to cry.
So, Anakin, since Spencer's not here and he's probably at work watching, go ahead. Announce the winner between Spencer Love And the reason why I was saying the other thing is, Pluggo, yep, you do work for Love Wrestling, but you are the representative of this show because you are one of the main members of this show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down.
So,
all right. So, for Money in the Bank, which was what you guys did, I have the results here from Tad. It was a 58 to 42 percentage. So that's what it was. The winner is Mr. Plug Wrestling Inc. Pluggo, you won.
I won.
You won.
Oh, let's go! Let's go! That's right, Spencer. You can't hold me, baby. Let's go!
all right, now I gotta update that.
Oh snap! How did that play out? Because I was legit sweating that matchup. Like as I'm watching the Money in the Bank, I'm like, oh man, because I think he had me early.
So Tad did not send me the match by match breakdowns, but I mean you got almost 60% right compared to Spencer's 42%. So
baby.
You know what? And I'm going. So, Drew, you have anything to say for Pluggo, considering the fact that you didn't get your wish on this one?
Well, I'm more concerned with Dennis Farrell. So, Spencer, I don't really care about him anymore. Congratulations, Pluggo.
I bet.
Oh man!
After this, Spencer.
Yeah, and the funny part is, you know who might be Pluggo's opponent in the next round?
It don't matter as I'm out.
Oh, yeah, it will matter because you're going to be sitting next to him in about 10 minutes.
Oh.
Yep.
JP and I, we're brothers, man. We fight, but we we're brothers. So sometimes brothers fight, baby. We'll be all right.
Sometimes gold is more important than brotherhood.
Yep.
Except if you're a New Day.
Not only did
that's true.
Spencer lose his Love Wrestling Championship, he lost in the first round of Pluggo, and we're about to destroy his budget here in about 10 minutes.
You may get a case of gold fever and turn on your.
Well,
friend.
Spencer still has a secondary shot, so I mean, let's see how that goes.
I mean, he can have the secondary shot all he wants, baby, because I got the first dairy shot. You know what I'm saying? Oh!
First dairy shot.
But
that's a new word.
So what this means is Pluggo will be facing the one at Night of Champions, which is the match between Steven Jensen and his co-host for Tale of Two Beers, JPJ. I will be stopping by afterwards and wanting to know what your co-host thinks about the possibility of you going after him in the second round.
Hey, stop on by. Let it be known. That's a good matchup, though, Jensen. And
yeah, it is. That's solid.
I told y'all I'd have a first round bye. Nobody listened. Everybody.
Well, yeah. I mean, you won by almost 60%. That's a pretty good. That's pretty much a bye right there. Wasn't like it was particularly close.
I think it was that Charlotte Flair pick because I went against him.
Oh, that's a good. Now, who did you have to win the briefcases?
We both went with Liv, and then I secondarily went with Bliss, and I think he went with Zelina Vega. So that pick was out of the water, and then I had Seth Rollins winning, and I think he went Riddle maybe.
Okay.
So it's close because, like I said, I think we differed on the Uso pick. I mean, there was a lot of difference in it, but I know that I think that Charlotte Flair pick might have been the one to do it.
Well
Spencer's still in it though, so I wouldn't be surprised if
he's hanging on for dear life while I'm cruising in around 2, baby.
And the thing is, he still has a shot because latter half, whoever has the highest 6 percentages will actually get it. Like right now, the first match for the secondary round that has more impact in it is Ray and the person who is going to be interesting to see is, and it's a wild card, is Rob Wilkins. So, I mean, that is going to be a very interesting match.
Dominique Wilkins, Wilkins. Out Pluggo, outpick everybody. Spencer love, dude love, no love. It don't matter. Pluggo, outpicking everybody, baby.
Well, do you want to know if because Chris Parrish, amazing guy.
Douchebag, but go on.
Do you want to know who won against Farrell and Parrish right now since you're here?
Sure, I have a feeling Farrell.
We can do the results. All right, we can do the results. Okay, so this one was a little bit closer, 54% to 46%.
Oh wow!
Come on, damn it.
And
Wow.
so the winner of the results for Slammiversary between Parrish and Dennis. Big money, Drew. You're gonna get your wish. Dennis Farrell moves on.
Woo, baby!
Ah, that feels good.
So
I'll accept this on behalf of Dennis. Thank you very much.
you're saying to me is I'm the grand poobah of pickers that love wrestling.
Wait a minute. You're feeling good right now, Drew?
Drew's
Absolutely.
Oh,
He wants Dennis.
You know what?
To face Dennis.
You know what? We need to fix that.
Oh no.
We need to fix that. We're doing this right now. Let me first of all get this situated. Hold on. Everybody stay put. Don't anybody go anywhere.
It's going in.
All right. And let me do
I don't have
this to make us bigger. Pluggo, no.
Yes, that's me. Pluggo.
Yeah. No, I don't. I can't have you in here for this.
Oh well, why?
Don't go anywhere. But all right.
Hello, Drew. If you don't recognize me, I don't blame you. It's not your fault. You're a cultured man. This is your dear old sweet friend, RJ City, and I have a message for you from Anakin. Anakin, they did not ANAKINJMT, which is the part I'm having difficulty with. Anakin, I'm there, right? And, I went to the same high school as Hayden Christensen. Separate years, and I never met him or spoke to him, but the point stands. Anakin JMT. I don't know who that is, but you do, obviously, or, unless they're just forcing themselves into your life. I know you, and I know that you're Drew Nicholas, which is a wonderful, adorable, they never trust a man with two first names, I already said. That's why I hate Steve Martin. Cancel Steve Martin. It's a trend I started. I tried to get it trending. Didn't quite catch on. And anyway, who am I? Let's ask that question at the end of the cameo, shall we? Let me present myself, and then you can divulge from there. Anakin Jimit, this is what they wrote to me to talk to you about, Drew. Roast. This is a roast, apparently, and there's a fire emoji attached, so I'm sure you are scorched already. Never trust a man with two first names. Gotcha, my friend. Roast Drew about acting like he's Roman Reigns. The head of the table. Yeah, fucking thanks, Anakin Jim. I know who Roman Reigns is, and he has a replica Universal title belt. First of all, I don't know how you're doing, how you're acting like Roman Reigns. I hope you're not doing the entrance. Because it's, we're all adults. You don't need to emulate wrestling entrances anymore. And of any kind, that should stop. That just tells me that you're unhappy with who you are. If you're replicating someone else's entrance. Do you wear black cargo pants all the time for no reason? Is that something you do? You walking around in Doc Martens? That's wrestling wear. That's Roman's wrestling wear. And you thrust it upon everyday life. You walk around, I don't know, Walmart, shopping for Bounty, let's say, drop a few more brand names, clomping around in your cargo pants and your Doc Martens. That's ridiculous. And they should kick you out. You say, no, sir, please stop emulating. And who do you say acknowledge me to? Your wife, your kids, your family, your friends? Are you that bereft Is there such a lack of acknowledgement on your end that you've had to embody Roman's oeuvre just to get people to acknowledge you? And the universal title belt. I mean, it's nice to hang up. It's good to display on a mantle or on a headboard, perhaps, even though you'll certainly be sleeping alone. It's not something you should walk around with. You know, this poor schmuck in Walmart. How do you get in and out? The metal detector must just catch on fire. Put the belt away. Display it. It's fine to be a wrestling fan. It's fine to let people know you watch the programming. But don't walk around with the belt and emulate the entrance and wear black cargo pants and Doc Martens. More about Drew Nicholas. Oh, thank you. Here's the bio. He's a teacher in New York, and he writes for Cage Side Seats. So what do you teach exactly? How to vaguely insinuate rumors and spoilers? Big things coming up. Do you teach how to tweet the big eye emoji? That's what you tweet? This thing might happen coming up. It might also not. As we know, everything changes. So who am I to say? Please click this article to find out more. Or do your review. You say, I'm doing a 1986 episode of Superstars. And you're like, this is, Iron Mike Sharp looked a little sloppy here. Wasn't my favorite of his performances. I'm less than impressed. Is that what you do? That would be either option is said, and you're teaching people. God willing, your students do not find out that you write for this website. You know, Cage Side Seats. So either it should be strictly MMA, or you should only report on cage matches. Ringside Seats was fucking taken, and whoever came up with this name was completely undeterred. We'll figure something else out. Don't worry about it. Side and seats are definitely going to be in the name. I don't know what the first part is. We're going to figure it out. Arena side. Barricade side seats. And I feel so close to the action speaking to a teacher from New York who's just like Roman Reigns. He talks a big game without backing it up. What are you teaching people in the 6th grade? And you're like, hey, buddy, try me and see what happens. And they try you, and then you go, I'm warning you. And then they do it again, and you're like, I mean it this time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an article to write about how Rick Martel was underrated. What they love most about you. Oh, so Anakin JMT said, honestly, not sure if he's ever seen RJ, but I'm sure he'd love seeing RJ every Sunday in his undies. That's not a personal visit I make. Every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m., I make coffee in my underwear live on YouTube. You're welcome to watch and add another piece to this puzzle of figuring out just who the hell I am. I've now rambled, and I think I've given you enough of a taste of me for you to perhaps write an article about it, you know? Or maybe you do one of those weekly columns or just random thoughts. So it's like, Iron Mike Sharp was sloppy, Rick Martel is underrated, and who the hell is RJ City?
Oh my god.
Damn, shots fired. What did Big Money Drew?
I'm putting me over here. I just tweeted this out, and this is the awesomest part. I just said cameo that Anakin said. I said, RJ, this is awesome. RJ City's cameos are gold. And then all of a sudden, I look over, and there's a like not even 2 seconds later. I just did it again, too. I was like, dude, this is awesome. RJ cameo gold, and put the link for it. Pluggo, how long do you have, by the way, before you have to dip?
Time at 8 o'clock, probably a couple minutes.
What's your thoughts on that whole thing right now? Considering
Ranger tonight. That wasn't. I didn't know what was going on. Was that the big surprise you were talking about, Anakin?
Yeah,
that was it.
Oh my god!
I feel bad for Drew considering he got surprised twice in 2 weeks.
I feel bad for you because you're a nice person.
No, I bet you Drew's gonna pay RJ City to praise him on Cameo next.
Oh, that would
So,
be that would
I
be
have
hilarious.
I have to pull back the curtain a little bit. I don't like doing that normally, but
Oh my god! No,
I was told that something was happening today, and to have these ready.
Oh, I have to share this right now. This is even gold too.
Let's see.
Hold on. I'm gonna. So if you're watching, this is my personal Twitter. I really don't care, but this is gold right here. That just says it all. And if you're watching RJ City, you are awesome, man. And if you ever want to come on here, I know this is a little show in a little pond compared to everybody else.
We're not the bump or
But I mean, dude, it would be an honor, man. You're such a good guy, man.
So I was told to have these ready, but I don't know. I have nothing to say.
That's
I have nothing to say right now.
Drop the knob.
So,
Oh, he popped you several times, didn't he?
oh, more than several times. That was the funniest fucking thing I've seen this week.
That's why, like, so we have a Twitter DM of everybody in the show, like everybody who's been on the show and whatnot. And I had posted, and I had posted in there like earlier this week. I was like, hey, I'm ordering something. Hopefully, I'll be able to show it. So then Tuesday afternoon, I wake up and I see the cameos in. I'm like, oh, that was quick because I had ordered it I think I might have even ordered it like early Tuesday morning, and he already had it. He already had it done.
Yeah, he does a lot of them a day.
Yeah, and so I start watching it, and I was like, oh, this is gold. So I went in our private DMs. OMG, OMG, OMG! It's here and it's amazing. I have to share this Thursday. And Drew responds, "You scared me. I thought it was something bad." I said, "I am shaking. It is that good." And then Maggie says, "I haven't been shaking from something good in 2 years."
Yeah, I saw that.
I have somebody, I would say, in wrestling fame, because I would team RJ City as wrestling fame, has cut a promo on me. So that's a first for me. Thank you very much for that.
I mean, the guy's been on the WWE bump, and he talked about Kevin Nash and stuff. Kevin Nash.
I don't know if anybody that I work for at Cage Side Seats would be particularly pleased with that part of the promo. But I'll admit I did laugh.
I thought
it was so funny. It came a point where it was like,
dude, this is awesome. Like, I'm like, I really mean it. RJ City, we're like a small show in a big world. Anytime it'd be and I'm putting this out there, and it really would be awesome if you ever wanted to come on this show. You could say and do whatever you want. It would just be all of us and just hanging out. It would be an honor because of the fact that you are an amazing guy for doing this. Yes, it's a cameo, but still a lot of people would probably not want to do it, but it's very appreciated. And, especially when we're doing stuff to make everybody laugh and everything, a lot of times the world's too serious. So,
that dude definitely looks like he gave you your money's worth too. Like, cause I've seen some cameos where it's just like quick and they get it done and to the point, man.
Yeah, they do it for a paycheck. They do it for the money.
So,
yep.
Listen, boys,
yeah.
I love you. I'm glad I beat that Spencer. On to round 2. Pluggo's taking that belt home, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Can we record that part? Because literally just have it as a ringtone.
Oh, down goes Spencer. Woo, baby.
Oh, I wait till you go to Love Wrestling later on, and I pop in there and just like literally sit in the chat, and all of a sudden Pluggo sees me, like starts talking trash to Spencer and stuff. Oh boy.
Going down. Going down. Just like Spencer, it's going down. All right, boys. Love you. Enjoy your show. We'll talk to y'all later.
See you later.
Oh my bloody hell! And this is awesome too. It's like, you know, saying thank you to RJ City too. It's nice to actually get replies too.
Oh yeah. He's really good about that. There's been a couple of times where I've replied to him on Twitter and he'll reply back, or he'll at least like it. There was one time where Jessamine Duke had put up a video on her YouTube of her and RJ and I think Dakota Kai and Mia Yim, or maybe it was, or no, I think it was Shayna actually, and they were all playing Phasmophobia, and RJ just like runs in and and gets himself killed. And I tweeted out something about watching Jessamine and Shayna yell at RJ for constantly running into the house of her Phasmophobia and getting killed is a joy. And I tagged all three of them in it, and he liked it. So he will definitely is more likely to respond if you tag him in something, or if you reply to him. And it was well worth the money for it. And I might need to do one now for SRS next, because that would be great.
Well, I mean, originally the plan was for the 1 year for me to do a couple of cameos and stuff, but you know, the one I wanted to do didn't pan out because of the fact that it was not available. And yes, it was Christopher Sabbath, who plays Vegeta on Dragon Ball. I just wanted it just to use him saying something interesting, you know. But I mean, I think the show is pretty right there right now. So I mean, oh my God, I'm gonna say this much. I'm literally sorry, Drew. I mean, I pulled one on you last week. Next thing you know, Aaron, who's literally sitting there on the bottom half of the bracket with another chance, is gonna cut around and cut a promo or something like that. Who knows? I mean, jeez. Oh my God.
When I promise something and it's something good, I deliver. Because I got Denise with the shirt, and now I got Drew with the.
And you got to give me the assist at the time for that too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, sure. That was great with Denise.
For sure. Oh.
You are fantastic at delivering something that you don't need to box up and send to somebody.
Oh, shut up.
It's true.
I got did you, speaking of which, on a side thing, if anybody pays attention, I have 3 things of fluff, and there's a company here that's local that it has like traditional organic natural peanut butter. So I have to go and get bubble wrap, a shit ton of bubble wrap, and get that ready, because those 3 are going to be sent out soon enough. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Having somebody look at marshmallow fluff and peanut butter and figuring out how come these don't belong. So, oh my God.
Oh, my head hurts. And now we have to
keep going. Yeah.
We have to keep going. So that's great. So CmPunk and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. So Sean dropped quite a big bombshell yesterday, like right before noon. Like he said it, he mentioned on Listen to Your Boy, he dropped it a few minutes before noon because he was paranoid about it. CmPunk has been in talks with AEW about making an in-ring return, and they are more serious than they've ever been before these talks. Nothing signed. As far as Sean knows, there is no name on the dotted line yet. And then later on, and so this was yesterday, right before noon. And then later on that night, right around the time that Dynamite was starting, Cassidy from Body Slam reported that he had sources that were saying Bryan Danielson has signed with AEW. So those are 2 gigantic names for wrestling. So what do you guys think about CmPunk returning? Number 1, Daniel Bryan Bryan Danielson going to AEW, and then the idea that both of them may be working in the same company again.
For me, it's more so that Punk is that name, and I've said this in a couple of chat rooms and stuff like that, and it's rightfully so. Punk is that name that transcends everything. He's, to me, is the level where if you say you have to name 3 stars that would transcend wrestling in the modern era, you would think Rock, Cena, Punk. And the only way WWE could actually recover from something like this, they're trying to pull the trigger right now as we speak because of them supposedly, allegedly, I'm not going to say reportedly because we don't know it. We don't know if it's alleged or not, of bringing The Rock for Survivor Series, where they should hold out on that till Mania because that is the
you know why
fans back in Dallas, but they're rushing it.
You know why I thought back at Survivor Series. 25 years since he's made his debut at Survivor Series.
I know that, but but the thing about it is
I agree with you. I agree.
Mania is a bigger thing because of the fact that it's in Dallas. The other thing is that Bryan Danielson is one of those one in a generation talents, and he is bar none, pound for pound, the best, not sports entertainer, pro wrestler out there. And it makes a perfect sense for him to go to AEW and being utilized more so. And then they can give him creative control, which WWE seen at certain points trying to get him more creative control in there. And then give him, his full identity, the royalties and stuff like that, like an AJ deal or Samoa Joe deal or some shit.
Or even them be able to also work in New Japan, which reportedly was
they
the
were
whole
trying
reason.
to.
Yeah, and reportedly Daniel Bryan is the reason why WWE even started talking to New Japan about doing something, was because that was something that he wanted to do, and that's how much WWE did not want to lose him, and they were willing to be like, all right, well, let's go and talk.
I'm surprised Jay Wright is in Impact.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
but it's Sean had he was very careful in doing all this and was very clear, like, no deal has been signed yet that he knows of. For me, Punk is, there are some people who have said, hey, I've now seen Punk in UFC twice, and one of the times he lost to AM reporter. I just don't have any hype for seeing him in wrestling now that I've seen him in an actual fight and he's gotten his clock cleaned. Now, I didn't see either of the fights. I certainly know in the first one he lost like pretty much right away. I mean, it was embarrassing. Second one, he actually held his own, and then that's now that has since been ruled a no contest because that was overturned. But like, to me, MMA and wrestling are such different things. Like, you can have people who legitimately like know how to wrestle, like real like amateur wrestling, and they go into MMA and they just get stomped because it's not just wrestling, it's a different type of thing. And MMA, we've seen people go from MMA to wrestling and stink up the joint. I mean, you look at I forget who, but the guy that beat Brock Lesnar for the UFC title and then
Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, Cain Velasquez. Yeah. Like, great MMA fighter. Really, really good.
Yeah.
And
he beat Lesnar in MMA. He beat Lesnar.
Yeah. Goes to Saudi Arabia to wrestle Lesnar in one match and stinks up the joint. And it's like, no. Like, they're not compatible at all.
It's also like with MMA though, it's just it's a cross reference between wrestling, pro wrestling, amateur wrestling, and real combat sport. The only difference is quote unquote sports entertainment, the entertainment part you take out. But I'm saying pound for pound, wrestling wise, Bryan Danielson is the best of this generation. Like, literally, if I had to tell you, you had to name 3 people that did the catch can style wrestling that was on a higher level in this generation or overall, you would think Angle, Bryan, and Thatcher for the most part. Like instantly, in some people's minds, those three names will come straight to your mind.
I would have said Bret Hart in his prime.
Yeah, but he wasn't really. He was not the same type of. He wasn't the same type of performer as what Bryan is.
No, because he was a different era. But he was.
Yeah.
If you compare him to Angle, you said Angle. Angle's kind of like Bret Hart.
I mean, for me, it's more so that if you had to build
one of them.
Well, here's a better thing, and we get this question. We hear this question as people in chat rooms and stuff like that. People with our stuff, and I want Tim to put his 2 cents in this. If you started a promotion, let's say we started the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls Federation or whatever you want to call it, and we had a pro wrestler and we had to pay him Brock money to get him in. Name the one wrestler you would want on there. Like right off the bat, don't even think about it.
I mean, okay. So for me, honestly, my first thought actually goes to AJ Styles, but that's because I'm a huge AJ Styles fan. But Bryan Danielson, like if you were to say let's do him, I'd be like, I'm down.
For me, it would be Bryan Danielson because of the fact that he could do multiple things in the ring, but it's more so the creative side outside of the ring that he could do.
Yeah. 2014, Daniel Bryan. Now Roman Reigns. I would go Roman Reigns.
I would do Daniel Bryan. I would do Daniel Bryan the way he is now because he's in his own element. 1, 2. The thing is that the creative aspect of it. I mean, look at the stuff him and Cesaro did and stuff. How creative that was. A lot of the stuff that he was doing for WWE in the background, it seemed like, and you could see in certain things on SmackDown and be like, wait a minute, this seems like it's his touch, not someone else's touch. You got that feeling like you were watching something that you, in the back of your mind, you were like, it was his idea to do this and it worked out. And for a promotion, that's something that everybody needs to deal with, and that would help.
Yeah.
So see, for me, I know that there's like the big thing with a lot of wrestling fans now that CmPunk is no good. He abandoned wrestling, and holy shit, that's right, Tim. I know what that was for. That was a while ago.
Well, he did 2 of them. He did one for that, and then one just now.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the other one. I wouldn't mind him being back at all. Actually, I wouldn't have even minded if he chose to go back to WWE. I think probably that wouldn't have worked out for him very well. But I think AEW is definitely the right fit. They've got All Out in Chicago coming up in September.
Mm-hmm.
And now the other part is Daniel Bryan. Now,
let's just, before we go into schematics on this is reported. It's not 100% guaranteed.
Yeah. Right. It's now,
like
Punk's is more in the reported, but it seems like Bryan's from Cassidy. I don't remember what website he worked for.
Body Slam. So and like Sean, Sean has said he hasn't been able to confirm it yet, but he knows Cassidy's got some good AEW contacts. And Cassidy was the one that texted Sean letting him know Nick Gage is going to be on Dynamite minutes before Nick Gage showed up on Dynamite.
You know what AEW does better in WWE? Keep things in-house.
Very much.
I think that kind of depends really on who you're talking about. Because, the fact that it's been revealed about Punk being in talks with AEW, from a Fightful Select, when I see we're all part of Fightful Select. When I see what Sean Webb said, SRS posted on Fightful Select, it's usually more WWE news that gets out, rumor news, than AEW news.
Yeah, I see. Like it definitely skewers more towards WWE.
But it's also
starting to go AEW a lot more. AEW is starting. I can see with AEW is starting to become a little bit more of AEW with Malachi Black now with perhaps CmPunk and down Bryan. It's starting to turn with AEW in terms of the in-house, keeping things in-house.
Well, the thing about that you have to keep in mind is WWE is a bigger company still, so naturally, it's gonna be easier to have more contacts in WWE who have more access and knowledge about stuff versus AEW, which is still a smaller company. Like they just celebrated their third biggest ratings yet of what was it 1.13 million?
1.15, I think it was.
0.15, yeah.
And actually, that you mentioned that, I was just looking on my Twitter, and Dave Meltzer posted about 30 minutes ago. He said AEW was #1 on cable last night, beating CNN.
Yep.
So Don Lemon, who was like a major CNN name, AEW actually beat him in the ratings.
Yeah.
And with Biden talking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the town hall thing.
Yeah. And so, so the fact is, Sean's going to have more WWE contacts than AEW, but that doesn't mean that, he's not able to get stuff. He's
on good terms with WWE now. Remember he was a bad terms with WWE for a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's playing a factor into it as well. I don't know.
So now,
you had mentioned something about Rock. And why is Rock coming back in Survivor Series?
It's 25 years.
Yeah, well, right. And why not Mania? What I'm wondering is how much does his schedule play into this? Because it's not like Rock's not doing anything in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's probably filming stuff because he always does. He doesn't ever take a break from filming. He never takes a break.
He goes from one film to the next. So it may be, look, you get me at Survivor Series or you don't get me at all. And if that's the case, they're going to take him at Survivor Series. And it could also be Survivor Series is just an appearance and you get an actual match at Mania.
Here's the thing. If there was no pandemic and they had the WrestleMania in LA, I think we would have got Rock versus Roman.
I think the thing is that like you said, if the structure or if the pandemic was around, Mania this year would have been at Hollywood. So it would have made more sense to pull the trigger then. But obviously, the pandemic happened. We're still technically living in it if you're not off the ship on that. Just, it is what it is. But for me, it makes more sense if you're going to break your own attendance record, your own personal attendance record that you set. Thank you that you set in Dallas for that WrestleMania that Rock was an appearance for. What wouldn't be more than having your quote unquote high end champion versus the biggest person ever in sports entertainment, in wrestling, and in entertainment period. Cena right there is not even on the par of what Dwayne The Rock Johnson is doing, but give him another 2 years.
Yeah.
And he'll bring it. But the thing is, Cena in his wrestling is towards the tail end of his cycle for his wrestling. So this whole run is probably his last. So it makes sense for them to pull the trigger now on Cena. But I think they should just take this whole thing with Cena all the way up to Survivor Series and then just do something to the point where Rock costs Roman the title. Cena gets number 17. And then at the Rumble, Rock gets shot. Like this is fantasy booking here. And then the Rock gets a shot. It'd be the last 30. It pulls the Cena is the last entry, number 30 at the Rumble with fans. That makes a huge pop. Wins the Rumble, which would be his second time in his career to ever do it. Third. He would be tying Austin.
No, I think we won one.
No, he's talking about Cena.
No, I'm talking about The Rock.
Oh, you're talking about Rock. This would be his second then.
So Rock would win his second Rumble. Cena would get number 17, and Roman would be facing Cena at the Rumble and getting the title back. Now, I keep saying this. People in this community think I'm freaking nuts, and I really don't care about this because it's true. There's nothing dangerous than a person in any profession that has nothing to gain and everything to lose. Yeah. And right now, Roman has nothing to gain. His his family has has basically the tag titles and the Universal title, and he has nothing to gain and everything to lose. And there's nothing dangerous than somebody that has that mentality. The reason being is because, let's say, hypothetically, Roman loses the title at SummerSlam. He's going to be very dangerous and do whatever it takes to get that belt back. He won't care who. They'll have him go like he's a rabid Wolverine. Yes, I did mention a Marvel right there, but it's going to make perfect sense because of the fact that if you're going to pull the trigger and having a rematch, let's say they move a rematch for Cena winning 17, Cena gets out, Roman wins the belt at Survivor Series. He keeps saying he's the best of all time, that nobody could touch him, that because Cena beat The Rock, and then Rock beat Hogan and Austin and even Hunter, and then have the angle go towards Survivor Series and then Rumble. You could have Rock as the last entry, like I said, and there you go. Dallas, boom, you've got your major milestone, all or nothing pay-per-view main event that nobody can say it cannot be touched, and then turn around and then Rock loses, goes off to the distance for the rest of it, and then Roman basically has the whole thing all over again. If you connect those dots and if it works and a fantasy booking wise, it makes perfect sense. But guess what? This is WWE. They don't make any lick of sense.
Two things about it.
Before you start, this tournament booking makes more. The tournament booking we're doing makes more of a lick of sense than WWE doing anything.
The up, down, down tournament and left, right tournaments make more sense than WWE. So there's two things about it. Number one, like you're talking as though Cena and Rock would be able to end for extended periods. And the fact, it's just a simple fact. They are both Hollywood guys now. They're going to have movies and TV shows and stuff. Cena has a movie that he's going to be filming for a few weeks after SummerSlam, and that's going to take up a good chunk of it, a good chunk of his time. That's why, that's one reason why we all know Cena's not going to win the title at SummerSlam, because we all know he's got a movie, and just like we know Goldberg is not going to win the title, and so then it's a thing where there's a lot of people like, well, what's the point of doing a title match if we know there's no chance of him winning, because they are going to be going off and doing this. Here's the other thing too. Rock and Cena are big enough names. You don't need to have them in a title match to get to have them do it. The thing with the Undertaker and the streak was that it eventually became a thing where it's like, hey, Taker doesn't need to be in a title match. He can just have a match, and for wrestlers and for fans, that is just as exciting as being in a match for the world title is facing the Undertaker at WrestleMania. It's such a Cena and Rock are such big marquee names, and the fact let the titles be for the guys who are running now, and let Cena and Rock sell tickets, sell Peacock subscriptions, drive ratings for TV. Let them do it without having to have gold around their waist, because I just don't think it's necessary.
No, it's really not necessary. But for whatever reason, in Vince's mind, the big people coming back have to fight for titles.
Yeah,
I just don't get that at all. When they're really the ones that need it least out of everybody.
That's true, but I'm saying for them, for right now, because of all these moves, I know everybody's going, well, AEW doesn't go back and forth with W. They're two different things. I get that, but the thing is that let's say in Vince's head, if they get a big name like Punk, they need something to draw people in, because I watch WWE. I haven't watched Raw that much. I watch SmackDown and I watch NXT. And then also here and there, I will watch the UK product. But Punk and Danielson going to AEW possibly has me very intrigued. And I don't buy pay-per-views because obviously with Peacock, you don't really need to. Mm-hmm. I'm actually curious about All Out now, and not only for our own benefit as a show because of the destruction of the distraction match, that triple threat match we put together for the whole pick for the whole tournament. Yes, we're calling it that. It's not really the destruction of the distraction. It's just it just rhymed.
It's a nice tag.
But it's one of those things. Like, I'm very curious that maybe I should purchase All Out just in case they do pop out. I mean, it could happen. And the thing is that Cena coming out, the closest thing we had something like that with nobody knowing that Cena was going to pop out like that was Roman last year, where he basically came out of nowhere. That whole freaking slogan they did for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, nobody reported on it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a little different though, because we knew Cena was coming back. Like, Sean had reported that, whereas Roman was a complete shock. Like,
that was great. That's great.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that for me, the thing is with that is just Roman not know when Roman come back. Yes, Sean reported that Cena was coming back, but it wasn't stated when he was coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had said as soon as this weekend. That was the exact wording. He said it could be as soon as this weekend, which obviously would be Money in the Bank, and once Roman did his match with Edge, and then grabs the microphone to cut a promo. That's kind of like, okay, this is it. This is where Cena is going to show up. Whereas, for example, when Christian Cage popped up on AEW, nobody was expecting that, because everybody thought, oh, surely he's going to sign with WWE. He came back at the Rumble. He's cleared. Surely that's where it's going to be. And then suddenly, nope, here he is on Dynamite, and people were legit shocked that happened. I mean, Jay White, which we can get into now. Jay White shows up on Slammiversary at the end of Impact, and that crowd went nuts.
Yeah,
and I was on the watch along.
I know,
which was awesome. And
let's set this up while you're talking about that watch along. Yeah, right. I said joking around that somebody should talk about the tournament. I didn't bring it up, so that was good clarification.
I didn't bring it up either. Chris brought it up all on his own. That is all Chris's fault for bringing the tournament.
And I'm going to say this because I know Parrish watches it. I think Parrish watches this. Dude, I will accommodate your schedule anytime. I would love to do a show with you with Parrish, just talking about wrestling and stuff. I asked him because I'm going to start writing an article about epilepsy and wrestling and stuff. Just because even if it doesn't get published, I want to feel like I've done something creative on something I know. Mm-hmm. And he has been very helpful, and he sent me one of that match he was doing that Sunday of the prediction show, and that match was awesome. I swear, he's a really nice guy. Really appreciate him, and he's helping me with some certain ideas. There is going to be a conversation within the group soon about possibly doing something for epilepsy awareness and for epilepsy. So stick around for that. We'll talk about that eventually. But you're right, though. That watch along was awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't pay as much attention to the matches themselves as I wish I would have, especially because it was that was my very first Impact show. But Joel Pearl was like, "This is what it's normally like." I was like, "Well, you know what? It's fine because it was a blast getting to be on there with Jussie and Kate Hensler and Hannah, and it was just and Robert DeFelice, Rob Wilkins popped up for a period of time. It was just a lot of fun, but we all went nuts when Jay White came out at the end, because we hear this music and we're like, what is this? And then we see on the whatever Impact calls their Titantron, we see Bullet Club, and like, okay, and then Jay White walks out, and we all just flipped our lids, like, Jay White Impact against Kenny. Oh my gosh. And then Tama Tonga tweets out, interesting. And then you have, I forget his name, but you had another Bullet Club member in the crowd at Dynamite.
Hikaru or something like that. Hikaru.
Yeah.
Kengaku's son.
Yeah.
Meng's son.
Yeah, and the brother of Tamatanga and Tongaloa.
Yeah.
And right after Lance Archer wins the US title from Moxley in a brutal match, he comes out and comes to the ring and it's announced, hey, Lance is going to defend that title against him next week at Fight for the Fallen. And it's like, wow. And so, those are the kind of surprises like Jay White that I think for something like that where they're big names but they're not super gigantic big, I think it can work better if you don't have anything knowing. But look at what the buzz has been about Punk and Bryan in the last 36 hours, ever since the news first broke of those two being in talks with AEW, signing with AEW, in some sort of relationship with AEW, or at least negotiations. Like the buzz has been massive, and now you've got people going, okay, what music will Daniel Bryan come out to? Will it be the Final Countdown, which he used in Ring of Honor, or will it be a version of Flight of the Valkyries, because that's in the public domain? What about Punk? Will he come out to Kill Switch Engage, or will he come out to Cult of Personality? When will they debut? Bryan Danielson at the New York show in Ashes Stadium. Yeah, Drew's excited about that. That seems likely, but then it's like, okay, what about Punk? Do you have him assuming that they are able to get a deal signed, do you have him show up on Dynamite, or
if anything, it'll be at All Out.
See, and it could be, because that's the thing. Because that's one of the thing of what's more important. Do you want to drive people to buy the pay-per-view? Because if you have them show up on Dynamite, that drives pay-per-view buys. You have them show up on the pay-per-view, it drives a bigger rating for Dynamite.
And let's just say this now with this whole thing going on too, is that's going to be a question Tad's going to ask in that match in the tournament for that main event for All Out for us. Is just, do you think Punk or Danielson will be on at All Out? And he'll probably throw that as an interesting thing, is that, the music and stuff like that. So
they have to do Punk at All Out at this point. If he's truly signing, and of course, again, like we were saying, this is all speculation, especially with Punk. Punk is not 100%. They have to do it at All Out. It's in Chicago. That is the major moment for wrestling fans for the past 7 years since Punk left. Is like, now it's unfortunate that it's not going to be at the Staples Center, but it's still Chicago, and it's going to be a major moment in wrestling for wrestling fans, regardless of whether people want him to come back or not want him to come back. And then the interesting thing about Bryan, too, is that, and they were talking about it on The Distraction today, Jack Crosby and Bob O'Neill and Jeremy and Joe, they said what a pivotal moment it would be. And I'm not one that's like down with the WWE, or, if you don't like AEW, it's fine. I don't care about any of that stuff. But number one, at this point, I need Daniel Bryan to show up on that Ultra Ass show, because I'm going to be there and I am going to cry. Okay? Because Daniel Bryan is one of the most amazing people in the world. And I was absolutely heartbroken when he had to retire. And I was crying then. And I was crying when he returned. And they didn't do his return.
No.
Right. They did. They had a ready-made storyline with The Miz. They fucked it up, as usual, because it's WWE. And they didn't do right by him. And yes, they did right by him in the end with SmackDown and facing Drew, being with Drew Gulak. And we
did get the Planet's champion.
Yes. Well, right, yeah. And the debut of the hemp title with the wood and the stones, that was awesome.
Yeah.
But him in AEW, for him to show up, they were talking about the Distraction today, which was like, I didn't even think about it until Jack brought it up. For them to debut Bryan at the Ultra Ass show and Punk to be there, and the two of them to be standing in the ring together in New York on an AEW show is a huge pivot in the wrestling atmosphere. Just those are game-changing names.
And the thing,
but I just want to say, I don't mean game-changing in the sense that WWE is going to go out of business. They're not going to go out of business. No. But as you see, I mean, as I just said before, Dave Meltzer reported, people are watching AEW now. This was their third highest rated show.
Mm-hmm.
They're catching up to their highest ratings already.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Van predicted on Listen You Boy yesterday that by the end of the year, you're going to have the highest quarters of AEW right at the level of the lowest quarters of Raw. By the end of the year, that is his prediction. And I can absolutely see it as well. Especially because AEW has already been able to beat Raw in the demo, and that key demo. I think this is now the second time they've done it. I think they did it last week, and they've done it again this week. And that's,
what you mean? Millions of people don't want a Symphony of Destruction.
So, anyways, Aaron, what are your thoughts considering he's been a little quiet throughout this?
Okay, so look. This is big in the era of wrestling. If those two sign, that's huge. That's two major stuff. That I could see that changing the shift into AEW's favor. But I think the shift is really changing in AEW's favor right now. But for those two, it's a major shift. But let's not compare to the outsiders, guys. I know now, Sean Westap, the distraction. They all say, "Oh, this is the biggest thing since the outsiders." No, okay. Scott Hall was never a champion. That's true. Kevin Nash was a champion. He was one of the weakest champions there was. He wasn't drawing money, but the outsiders came into WCW as billed as WWE guys. These guys, when they go into, if they sign with AEW, they're not going to be billed as WWE guys. They're going to be billed as AEW guys. Let's not compare the two like that. In terms of changing the shift between the two companies, it's already starting. Those two will just put it over the edge. But, and guys, no. And I know see people are joking about an NWO version of AEW. No, that's not going to happen. My concern is AEW's long term. Signing WWE guys over and over. We've seen this with WCW. When AEW started off doing great was developing younger talent, and they still are, but they're going with major release WWE guys over and over. WCW made that same mistake, and it cost them. They had to get Hogan, Savage, and they get the outsiders, and all these past WWE guys past their prime. Long term, it's going to be a mistake. It might be a mistake. But the difference is, I'm confident right now it's not going to head that way. It's just that backstage, we know the wrestlers contribute to the storyline. I think it's a little in WCW when that happened, it did not go well. But right now in AEW, the thing is, WWE's creative is not good. But at least they have someone. Vince, whatever you can think about Vince, at least they have someone. No, you can't do this. You have to do this. I don't know if AEW has that exactly.
Well, what AEW does, what's good about AEW is that they see when things are not working and they pivot.
Okay, yeah.
WWE did not do this.
Yeah,
because WCW had, if you think of AEW, they kind of had the same management as WCW had, but WCW, when they saw things were bad, they never pivoted.
Yeah, and just yesterday, the perfect pivot. People did not like that Vicky Guerrero was paired with Andrade, and now Chavo Guerrero came out, and it's already get much more of a buzz.
But they're getting to a point where they're getting a lot of WWE talent, and it's probably rightfully so because they've been on more in mainstream TV, right? So,
but I mean, here's the thing about it: like WWE has released 90 people since April of last year. And and the fact of the matter is when you're the biggest, when you're the biggest party in town, you're gonna have a lot of people that at some point worked there and worked for there, and it's and the difference between WCW and AEW is WCW would refuse to truly build new stars because they would keep relying on the older stars that WWF had made.
Yeah, that's
what's right. So right now, not counting Punk and Bryan because we don't we have not gotten the all elite graphic thing or whatever. What do you think has been the biggest name as far as active wrestlers? The biggest name that AEW has gotten? Moxley and Jericho. And look at how those two are. So you had Jericho as your first champion and Moxley as your second champion. Jericho was champion to help establish AEW as being a real thing, to help establish that title, and Moxley was done because he was the hottest thing going on at the time. He was the hottest name. Yeah. He was the right person to take the title. But you look at now at the scope of things and the people they brought in, Matt Hardy and Christian. They're feuding with each other. There's no titles involved. Mm-hmm. They're just feuding with each other, playing off of this almost 20-year or more than 20-year long history.
But WCW did that a lot though with the old guard. They always said
right. But they also would tell the cruiserweights, "Hey, go out there, have a barn burner for a match, and then you're gonna be whatever." Darby Allin has main evented like 7 Dynamites, 8. Like now, like if it's like, hey, we need somebody to be in the main event. Who should we put in? Darby's going to be one of the first things they look at because he's a draw. Britt Baker last night, got such a huge reaction from the crowd. She is a draw. Jungle Boy is a huge draw. AEW is actually building. He's actually building stars.
Yeah, everybody's over in AEW. A lot of people are over in AEW.
Good, Evan, man.
It's true.
What up, Evan?
Damn.
Evan, come on here if you want.
You know what? Anakin, that's a product of WWE's failure, not building up stars.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the thing about it is that with WWE though, is just they tried at the start of the PC building stars, and look, half of their rosters from the PC. It's just it's just they've hoarded so much talent. It's just the rest of those people that they train could go other places now.
That's true. And you just reminded me of that. The biggest thing about people being WWE guys is because WWE talent hoarded for years and just kept so many people on their roster, not using them just so that other companies wouldn't benefit.
Yeah. And the thing about it is the majority of the talent is homegrown talent too. So other than people they've signed, if you exclude the signings, you have the 4 horsewomen. Roman, who is was in WWE because of the FCW. Seth was. Moxley was at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And then you look at the first very class. The majority of them are champions. Majority of them have titles or left and been successful. As much as the crap we give for WWE of not building talent and developing talent, if you look at from the beginning of from now to where NXT was at the start, where it was FCW, and look at that talent pool, Roman and the Usos, tag champions and Universal champion. Where do they come from? FCW/NXT. Charlotte, 4 Horsemen, same thing. We give them so much grief, and you're going to be like, well, throwback, you're pro WWE. No, I'm pro freaking awesome work, man. The thing about it is that, yeah, Evan, you're right. He came from ROH and was world before that. But I'm saying, like, developing it and changing into the way the style of WWE is, like, here's the hard cam 1, here's the hard cam 2, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm saying from that development aspect, from the ground up talent, Charlotte wasn't a pro wrestler. Yes, she has the family genetic from it.
Product. She's WWE
but she's straight WWE product. You know, Becky works in the indies and stuff and left and came back. Yeah. But the majority of her stuff. Same with Sasha, who is New England talent based, and same with Bailey. It's just Alexa, same thing. It's just it's just the same thing, like all the time that people say, That's something that somebody who's pro WWE would say. No, the fact of the matter is that they've built their own talent, but the problem is that they've have these classes that are so huge and hoarded so much homegrown talent, even if they've come from the indies and changed it up to the WWF.
They didn't bring talent from home.
No, I get it, but I'm trying to say from the point from them developing their own talent in house.
NXT is developmental, apparently.
And the thing about it is that, well, who knew that? But the thing is it's just ridiculous.
But it's
not. It's not. But that came from yesterday with John Alba.
The second they went on cable, they lost development. So.
It was, it wasn't really development in the first place. Like at the beginning, it was, but even before it went on the USA Network, it wasn't development.
But the
did you
thing
watch
about
that
it is,
early NXT stuff, Aaron? Because
early you did,
and that was developmental.
When it got to the point where they signed like Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Nev, it got to that point, it didn't become development anymore. You know.
But I mean, like here's the thing. Like, there's certainly things that the PC can learn for wrestlers who haven't been on TV or really don't have that much experience with stuff. But here's the other thing too: is they're all taught the WWE style of wrestling, which for some people it works, and for some it doesn't. There are people that were not good when they were in the PC and WWE, and they go elsewhere, and look at how much better they are. And Evan, you will appreciate this shout because a prime example of this is Ty Conti. Because nobody thought when Ty Conti was in NXT as Tainara Conti, nobody thought that she was going to be that good. And she is now at the point where she has developed so much and gotten so good over the last 9, 10, and 11 months of her being a part of AEW, working matches on Dark and Elevation and getting some Dynamite matches, that now like when she had that world title shot against Sheeta several weeks back before Double or Nothing, there were people going, I could see Ty actually winning it.
You also got another name you didn't mention too about the whole thing because she was in there too.
Juice Robinson, another great shout out.
New Japan, they're good with him.
But there's another name that you didn't mention that should be notified, and she is, the Impact's women's champion, which is
Deanna.
Deanna is the perfect the thing where it's just like she was great in ring performance, but even though she wasn't doing the WWE way, but at least now with cameras and spots and stuff, she can look for the hard camera and then look for the other camera. It might be the WWE, but it is in communication ways. It's looking okay. So the camera has to be at least 6 inches down from this spot. Where's the camera that I need to look at to do the promo, and where's the secondary camera when I have to pivot? So that for them to do that, it's great. Yes. Yeah. Thunder Rosa shouldn't have been a ref, but the thing is that look at where she is now.
I just thought of something really funny I know I'm not saying this to shit on you, Throwback, because I know, a lot of people, they think, oh, you're just being so pro WWE right now. But I just thought like how funny it is that WWE is the production company, and you need to know where the cameras are and how to wrestle for this, because this camera's going to be here and this and that. And then Kevin Dunn fucks up everything anyway.
Yeah.
Where is his removal and putting somebody who actually knows how to shoot? I mean, Jesus Christ, all the fucking shit.
How long has Kevin Dunn been doing this? How many years?
For me though, it's more so. Don't get me started on the 25 camera cuts and symptomatic issues I've had because of fucking camera cuts. It irks me to no end because of the fact that we could shit from WWE from afar. They probably won't listen to us. A little show that's broadcast on YouTube and Twitch and
they do have WWE the bumps RJ City on now, but that's
true.
That was for one thing for a cameo, but the thing about it is for me is especially for Sasha, and I'm not gonna let's just call her Mercedes right now, just to get to the point. She came from Massachusetts, worked from Chaotic Wrestling, was trained in Chaotic Wrestling, and moved her way up to WWE and learned their system. And now I bet you, like, say she's done with WWE about 5-10 years from now, and she goes to, let's say, AEW or Impact. The training she got from WWE, which a lot of people are not saying, like Anakin referred to, it could be used in other tools. It's like me going to working for Jiffy Lube and then going to Valvoline. All that stuff going from one place to another, I can use those skills. It's the same way with, any type of job. It's one of those things is you learn different skills and it translates to different areas. I think with them teaching quote unquote the WWE style and the production stuff, it also helps them get better doing a lot of other things. I mean,
I'm talking about the style of wrestling, not necessarily here's where the camera is and all that stuff. Because that stuff is really helpful. It's the actual style of wrestling, because not everybody is going to fit with that WWE style of, like let's take Baron Corbin, and he's a great example. He's had some really impressive moves. He actually when he's able to can put on really good matches. I mean, when he was doing the King of the Ring tournament 2 years ago, like people were like, "Wow, Corbin's actually really good. He's really impressing." It's just so much of his headlock, rest hold here, rest hold there, like all sorts of stuff.
Pause, 5-second pause, kind of. Yeah, I know that
exactly, and that's what I mean when I say the WWE style is how to actually wrestle and do the moves and what moves to do.
For me though, it's more so what I mean about the talent wise. I'm talking about the production aspect of it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And the thing is that they learn a lot more. I think talent wise, I think everybody has their own talent in their own wrestling styles, in their own ways. But I think the production aspect of WWE helping these people move on, the talent pool that they had in that first class, if you look at that video, that picture is insane, and a lot of them are doing amazing stuff. I mean, look at Charlotte, no lick of wrestling experience, and then she becomes this Stephanie. I was watching the Flair Most Wanted, and they talked about Charlotte saying she's a once in a lifetime women's generation performer. It's ridiculous. You put her in Ring of Honor or Impact or even AEW, and that whole landscape changes instantly. Mm-hmm. There's one person said in a chat one time when I just popped in, I think I was watching this reaction and I put this out there. I think somebody mentioned AJ Lee. AJ Lee coming back the way Punk is. If she ends up in AEW with her husband in some capacity, can you just imagine how many people will flip their lids over that?
Yeah.
It's just, it's just for one of those things where, like I said, we can at a distance give our opinions on this stuff, and it's not going to be heard. But at least, at least we feel better afterwards. This is something that I get aggravated on because it's like, oh, they're doing the WWE style. I'm like, I get the wrestling style that they're doing. Pause, hold, do this, and it's all methodical. But the production stuff, like Rob gets pissed off about the production stuff. I get pissed off because 25 camera cuts in 2 seconds. I mean, come on now. Mm-hmm. But teaching them, here's the hard camera in a promo, here's that. Instead of when they're actually doing wrestling and stuff, they're not worried about it in AEW about it, but when they're doing the promos, they're paying attention to which camera's which.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that, that's something that AEW has already shown that they're willing to work on, and they're getting better at it. And that's the thing too, like having Dustin Rhodes there as one of the coaches and having Colt Cabana there. I mean, Dustin Rhodes, was on WCW. He did WWE. He did TNA. Like he's gonna know all that sort of stuff. And Colt Cabana spent such a long time doing Ring of Honor and all this stuff. Like those are both going to be invaluable sources of help. But I do have to go, guys. I got to get out of here. I got to get ready for work. So I'll plug myself real quick. You can follow me down there at AnakinJMT, Mr. Warren Hayes Discord. Check us out, and it's a lot of fun. And have a good.
It's okay because we're gonna wrap it up anyways because it's literally hour into it.
Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
Well, then there were 3. All right, Drew. Do your thing, man.
I don't know how to do my thing now after the night that I think. RJ City, if you find this, my hat's off to you.
Check your Twitter.
I'll message him on Twitter after this.
No, you should literally wait. Take a camera, download the video on this off the YouTube when it gets on there, and literally just post it and just show him just what you just said. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Follow me at Big Money Drew on Twitter, the best and worst place to be. And as RJ City said, I write on CageSideSeats.com, which I believe was before Ringside Seats, but I'll have to, make a slight adjustment on that. And I do the Raw, SmackDown, and main roster pay-per-view reviews there. And that's it for me.
All right, Aaron, do your thing, man.
So you can find me on my YouTube channel at Aaron Entertainment. My name is just down below there. I do wrestling weekly shows every Monday. I do a pop culture show sometimes every week. I do a sports show sometimes every week. I haven't done them lately. Well, I haven't done a sports show lately. And and I sometimes stream video games, so I'll just upload a video. Yeah, and come check me out.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff. We actually have a match going to be possibly recorded for Fight for the Fallen. That's going to be happening next week. It's going to be Jim Sloan versus Angel. They're 2 people I know in real life. They're good friends of mine, and they're willing to be in this tournament. Also, we have a possible announcement because of TakeOver happening might be doing a 4-way match going on to have 2 matches done. We'll figure that out soon enough. But I'm speechless. This is the second week we've done something over Drew, and I feel so horrible about it. Other than that, check out Sisters Custom Designs. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Drew left a comment saying something real quick. But other than that, just do a good deed, pay it forward. Go check out Fightful Gaming. We're going to probably raid them after this just because of the fact that, well, why not raid somebody that has helped us along the way. Also, go to Love Wrestling. Check them out. You've got Tale of Two Beards or whatever is B2B, if you want to call it. JPJ and Pluggo are literally...
I should be on that show one day.
I know. Me too.
You too are.
Having fun and just being very enjoyable. It's been one crazy week. We've got to get through another few more weeks to go before we get to SummerSlam. So, other than that, we'll see how it goes. All right, guys. Like I said, do a good deed, pay for it. Have a good night.